Was that it then?
Yeah!
Right. We can go now.
You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS with my guests, yes, John Anderson, Trevor Rabin and Rick Wakeman.
Hey.
How are you?
Very well indeed, thank you. Yeah.
Appreciate you coming by.
That's all right. I've got my suitcase, which British Airways lost. It was very kind of them. Had all my underpants in it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have different colour ones or just...
I do now. Yeah.
Brown?
Yeah.
Get in here, Brown.
No, it was a quick nip down to Ross and get some replacement ones, which I'm pleased to say. And then they found my case, so I've got hundreds and hundreds of underwear now.
Do you wear boxers or briefs?
Well, at my age, it really doesn't make it is briefs because it makes me feel bigger than I actually am.
Brown Sugar was named after his underpants.
Right. But it holds it all in, briefs, when you're...
Yeah, it's when you're my age, it helps an awful lot.
I just get black ones too.
Do you?
Yeah.
No, that's a good idea.
They don't show the skid marks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I must try that. Yeah.
What do you reckon, John?
Live radio, is it live radio?
Yeah.
Gosh, so exciting.
I know. It is. So,
skid marks is very English, isn't it? Is it a term over here?
I don't know, is skid marks a term?
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Well, it's not a good one if you've got them, that's for sure.
Well, actually, a skid mark is, first off, from a car, right?
Yeah.
How did it translate?
I think because somebody actually was driving along and skidded and shit themselves, and that's
swear words.
Sorry. No, I meant and had a poo poo.
Yeah. And number two.
I gave my car a Pepto-Bismol.
So you're playing the Greek Wednesday, August the 29th. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
that's what it says.
Yeah.
With the Greek.
It says that on the paper.
Oh, okay.
I'll
and
be
you're
there.
playing at the
Excellent.
Yeah, that's going to be...
That's Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be insane. Now.
Have you guys played there before as a band?
1971, I think, wasn't it, John?
I don't remember.
It was November. I'd only just joined and we came over and it was the first... I think we did 5 days.
Really?
At Whiskey.
That's true. I remember that.
And it was my first time in America. Absolutely amazing. I loved it. It wasn't like anything I expected.
Is that the first time you come to California?
Yeah, it was the first time I came.
And did
1971.
So was you blown away by the...
well, only on the second... Oh, I see, yes. I was... Be careful. They missed that.
I know.
Yeah,
not one person got it.
Not one person got it. Listen back and you might get it.
Coming from England and then you come to California, Hollywood, and it's all the big openness.
Well, we stayed at the Riot House, the old Riot House. And the first day I was there, they used to have a coffee shop at the front. They're not old enough to remember that. At the front, there was like a coffee shop. Do you remember that, John, at the front?
It was a coffee shop.
Yeah, at the front. So I went in...
selling coffee.
Yeah, and coffee and thing. And I went and had a coffee or whatever one, and this guy sitting next to me, and I remember his name in a minute, he said, what are you doing here? And I said, well, we're in a band called Yes, and we're playing down at the Whiskey. He said, oh, yeah. So I heard about that, mate. He said, all right. And I said, what do you do? He said, well, I made one record. Well, he said, actually, we made 2. And I said, oh, that's good. He said, piano player as well. And I said, oh, that's nice. And it was from Big Bumble and the Stingers, the guy who did the Nut Rocker and all that.
Oh, yeah?
Which was brilliant. That was my first...
Instrumentals?
Yeah, it's my first introduction. I thought, bloody brilliant. Because I bought that when it came out.
Yeah.
It was really good. That's the one. And then it went... And it went... Dun, 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 dun. That's it. Never mind. But it was... So that was my first... I thought
it's interesting, man.
It was. I thought it was great. It was my first. I've sort of met one of the guys who played on a record that I'd actually bought some years earlier. So it was brilliant.
Which you probably learnt because you keyboards, right?
Yeah, you did. You learnt in England. You learnt when Nut Rocker came out. That took over from Russ Conway's Side Saddle.
Yeah.
There was a guy called Russ Conway in England who made. You remember Russ Conway?
I remember Russ
Conway.
Conway.
Don't you, John?
Yes, I do.
You didn't sleep with him or something, did you? Like looking at...
Yeah, that was Guilty grin.
No,
Yeah,
he was,
that's a
he was a very handsome piano player,
He was, yeah.
like Rick.
No, he used to play the piano, and then while he was playing, he would turn around to the audience and do a big grin, and it would build all the tings off the teeth of all the lights and things.
Who?
And he was a
Russ
good,
Conway?
Yeah,
He played piano?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought he just was the front guy, singer.
No, he couldn't sing for anything. He was like me. He couldn't sing. He played. He was a good lad, but he had a record called Side Saddle, which was a massive hit, and every kid who was learning the piano wanted to play it. And then when B. Bumble and the Stingers took over with Nut Rocker, God, it was Christmas. Really
No
exciting.
one knows what the hell we're talking about.
No, I know.
Trevor,
Should we piss off
shut
and
up.
have a coffee
Oh,
somewhere?
sorry.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about things that they might know?
Where do you live, John?
With my beautiful wife Janie in Central California, in the hills, away from the craziness of Los Angeles.
What kind of area?
But this.
Because I want to move up there.
No way.
I do.
You do.
Yeah, I say. I mean, I do.
There's a lot of
Everyone.
wine.
Huh?
A lot of wine up there.
No, I
That's
don't
the
want
great-
that.
I know you want to be by the water.
I want to be inland, like
Yeah.
Mendocino County.
Well, yeah,
is
the
where I
wine
wanna go.
country's the greatest.
Well, there's wine country up in Malibu.
Right.
Everyone's got a winery
Yeah.
now.
Actually, a guy's got one literally next door to me.
Yeah.
Doesn't give me any wine.
I don't think.
My ex-wives used to whine a lot. That's all they did. Sorry, you want to move up north then?
I
Yeah?
do. I do. I feel like you. I think LA. I love it here. I've been here 35 years, but I think it's just too much.
35 years. That's good. Well done.
Yeah.
I love LA.
I do.
Love it.
But I'm getting older, and the older I get, I don't want bombardment. It's like bombardment living in LA.
What'd you get bombarded with?
You know, just information and pollution and the heat. And there's too many people right now, way too many people, and it's the end of the world.
Yeah, the roads are.
But what are the bad
Pain in your
points?
ass.
The bad points are. So you got a new album as well. I have to
Live
keep-
album, yeah.
I have
Yeah.
to keep chiming in every once in with business.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
It's this one.
We literally haven't seen it.
No, we just had
It's
a
the
look.
first time we've
Have
seen
a
it.
look.
It's nice, isn't it?
It's a CD. I can't
Yeah.
believe it.
I think we should change the cover, though. Bit late.
And there's a DVD.
Oh, that's the
That's,
DVD.
that's the live album. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
filmed it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
we did.
You
Yeah.
want to look? No.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's... I got it.
Very nice.
Oh,
Hey, but I quite like that actually.
We had a lot of
Yeah, it's
fun
good, isn't it?
recording it, and we were performing in Manchester, in England, and we were on tour.
you played the Apollo? Is that where you
Right.
All
filmed it?
Manchester,
Yeah.
Manchester Apollo.
And we just had the best tour, and we just have so much fun playing music on stage. And we just happened to film it that night, and it actually turned out very nice.
Yeah. What key do you sing in, John?
Yeah,
what's
my
your
front
perfect
door
key?
key.
Huh?
Gosh, my keys, I don't know.
He sings in all sorts
All
of
sorts
keys,
of
which
keys.
makes our life a bloody misery sometimes,
I
isn't it?
know.
Trev?
Exactly.
You know, it's there
There
is
you
not.
go, that's my key.
It's not
But
probably round D more than anything else.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's right.
Yeah,
D.
it's a lot of things in D.
So the most common key is like C for singing, right? Would you say?
Well, a lot. I mean, in the nicest sense, John's quite unusual, be it having an alto, pure alto voice. He doesn't know falsetto or anything like that, and so that range is up, isn't it? It's up a chunk,
Yeah.
unlike the normal rock singer tenor ranges. So that's why nobody else can sing like him.
Yeah.
It's quite totally
Rod
unique.
Stewart's has a higher key, I think.
Yeah, that's because of his underpants.
He's got to change them, the black ones, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
His top note's above an E, which is pretty ridiculous.
Depends what he's sitting on at the time, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, it is. It's very high where John goes. So that's why a lot of the music is not in normal rock and roll keys. In fact, there's very little in E or A, isn't there?
Well, yeah, and Heart of the Sunrise is A flat.
A flat, yeah.
A flat.
A flat, yeah, right, yeah. So,
Sorry, I'm just checking the mic.
Oh, you're a rapper now.
Do that again. That's really
Should we
good.
play some music? What's this? What you got here? We're going to play the first song. I can't even read your bleeding writing. I've seen all the good people. This
Yeah.
is off the album.
I remember
That's it.
that.
That'll do, yeah.
We're going to play that.
Oh, yeah.
We're here
Are
with
we
Yes.
doing that? Are we doing that tomorrow? Whiskey?
Sunday.
Sure.
Are we doing all good people? I don't remember.
I can't remember.
For it.
Oh, good. Let's
For
do
the
it.
beginning.
Yeah. They ding, they ding, they ding,
Yeah.
ding.
Yeah.
Oh,
So good.
Got a 12.
There you go.
Got a 12.
Well, it's quite good you're playing it because we
We've
can
only been
remember
singing
it
it
then.
for 50 years. You know, you got to get it right.
Yeah.
You know. It's a lot of
Jones's
fun, though.
Jukebox. KLOS. With Yes. Let's go.
Rock and roll.
Noisy bunch, aren't they? Jones's Jukebox, KLOS, my guess, Yes. How are you?
That was rocking.
Excellent.
That
Very
was
good.
really good.
Not a bad
Have you
band,
heard
that.
that before?
Many times, but that was sounding so good, I got to tell you.
I've never heard it out. I've only heard it at home after Trev did all the mixing and things
Yeah.
in his studio. So I've listened to it at home, but it's the first time I've heard it in a, shall we say, in an environment.
Yeah.
And
And that's
I-
how you can tell.
And I liked it in the environment.
Yeah.
I liked it very much. Well done, guys. I like that. I thought it was very good.
Very good.
So,
What next?
you like football, right?
Yeah, I like football. Well, actually, it's difficult because John's Manchester United.
No, not anymore.
Aren't you?
After
Oh.
last week,
Good man.
terrible.
Trevor's Man
He
United.
got beat by Brian. You know.
I know.
I
I
know.
watched it.
3-1.
Took them apart.
Yes,
3-2.
United.
3-2. Took them apart.
We 3-2.
Yeah.
Still got
But
beat.
John's real Accrington
Accrington Stanley.
are doing very well. They got promoted to the 3rd tier. They did well.
Accrington Stanley.
I've got sort of two sides. Brentford, who are in the Championship, which is the one below Premier, who are doing very well this year.
The Bees.
They're doing really, really good. And then I got heavily involved with Manchester City,
Yes.
who are
Doing very
real good.
well.
Yeah, which
How,
is
how do you...
Yeah.
He's giving them a lot of money. I can
how
tell
do you...
now. Investing.
why do you have two teams?
right. I've took because I first went to Brentford with my dad in 1953 when I was 4.
Yeah.
And he took me, and you just fall in love with the first club you go to.
Sure.
And I went there all my life, and I was a director there for some time. Then I moved up the north of England onto a place called the Isle of Man, which is a little island in the middle of the Irish Sea with 65,000 alcoholics clinging to it.
Yes.
And I lived there for a bit, and I used to fly over to, cause you could take the little flights to Manchester, and I took my youngest boy, who's now 35, I took him when he was about 4 or 5 to see Manchester City play.
Yeah.
And he just fell in love with that club, because that was his first club. So I used to have to take him all the time. So I ended up sort of getting involved with them as well. So I have 2 clubs.
That's interesting because when I was a kid, 10, 9, I think I used to go to Fulham and Queen's Park Rangers because I was brought up in Shepherd's Bush.
Oh, right.
And so...
Well, Brentford was just down the road from you there,
yeah, I know Brentford. But that was... But then when I started the band, the Pistols, when I was 18, 19, football went out the window. And I only got back into football like 25 years later when I sobered up. And I thought, I got to pick one team. I thought, I picked Chelsea because at least you might be able to see them on the TV over here.
Yeah, and Queen's Park Rangers haven't sobered up yet.
No.
This year they are, what's the word I'm looking for this year? Crap.
Yes.
They are really terrible. That's Brian's, our manager Brian's team. They haven't won a match this year, and they are absolutely rubbish.
Pants.
They are pants, yeah. Yeah, skid marks everywhere. They are terrible. But John's team, Accrington, are amazing because Accrington Stanley had the lowest wage bill, they had the lowest gates and the lowest revenue of any club in the league, and they took everybody apart, didn't they, last year?
Yeah, Accrington Stanley. They were one of the first 11 teams that created the first league in the world in 1897. And they were one of the first.
Wow.
They were. And you were a ball boy.
I know you. I
Right.
was a ball boy. I was a mascot. when
He
I
was a
9,
good
10 years
football
old.
player.
He was, good little player.
Bit short.
What position did you like to play?
Sound right. Number 7.
Yeah.
Stanley Matthews.
Yeah, had to be.
Oh, wow. Stanley.
Yeah, Johnny
Sir.
Haynes. Remember
Well,
Johnny
I
Haynes?
can,
Yeah.
I can see all these people in LA saying, what are they
What are they talking about? Yeah.
Well, I can give you something.
Is this interesting?
This will
Okay.
be interesting. How the Lakers are going to be this year.
Who cares?
Pretty damn good.
Who cares?
Yeah, I like him. I
Yeah.
like him. That's my sport.
That's that bouncy one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the bouncy
Yeah.
one.
Did you enjoy the World Cup? I did. I thought it was
It's
a
the
pretty
best,
good
Yeah.
one.
best
Yeah.
World Cup since Argentina World Cup.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
So
one was at
about 20 years
82.
ago, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great World Cup. This was a great World Cup.
Do you
Oh, it
like?
was
Do you like the OV?
Yes,
I
VR.
think that VR. Sorry,
Very
VR,
important,
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry,
it was
what is-
amazing.
what is that?
That's when they replay.
Video replay. You
Oh.
have it over here for
The
all your
ref runs
football.
to
Oh,
a
the ref
camera,
does it.
looks
Yeah.
at it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and it
Yeah.
doesn't waste much time.
I thought it was
No.
good. Yeah.
Fantastic, yeah.
He actually doesn't go. He goes to the camera. You can't see. He goes to
Yeah.
the screen, but he's actually not watching the replay. It's all like porn on there.
Yeah.
That he watches. You know what's going on.
Yeah,
That's
it
good.
knocks one out quick.
Yeah, he knocks one. Yeah, he knocks one. I'm talking to that. It's interesting. England got to the semis for the. They did for the first time.
Oh, I know. I was watching it.
Yeah, and it's.
That was exciting. I loved that.
It was such a shock. It's the first time I knew it had a semi since watching Brokeback Mountain. Really, it was fun.
I didn't
it was
think.
fun.
I didn't. I thought when they played, you know, they beat them in penalties and they played Sweden, and that was kind of a breeze. I thought, and then I thought, oh, maybe we could
Maybe
do this.
Croatia. Croatia took us apart.
But I think
Modric
them
was-
guys were on steroids. Croatia.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
yeah. I mean,
But they had so much energy, and we just looked like lost.
Yeah.
We looked lost.
yeah.
That's my 2 cents. What do you
I
think,
agree.
John,
I
of that game, the Croatia
I,
game?
I thought it was a good game. Well, I liked the guy who used to play for Tottenham,
Yeah, yeah.
Modric,
Modric. He's
Yeah.
one of the great players of all
He is.
time. And he plays for
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid now. And
He's only little.
little guy.
He's
like me.
really tiny.
Is he?
Yeah.
And, but he actually watched everything, and if you follow him throughout, he's watching everything, gets the ball, just passes it perfectly. He hardly gets himself in trouble, but he's such a good player.
He is a good player.
He's likely to be FIFA's Player of the Year, I reckon, this year.
Yeah, should be.
Yeah.
Go
You don't
Croatia.
give a toss, do you?
Well,
Be honest.
No.
No. The,
Does anyone have a question for these guys? Okay, never mind.
Not all at once.
There's a hand at the back. Do you want to run by the? Do you mind if
no, whatever you like. Right.
get the punters involved?
Playing drums with you on this tour.
you,
Hey,
Lou Molino, who's been with us from the start.
Yeah.
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 That's that then.
That's that.
He's a sort of local boy. isn't he?
Local guy, yeah, yeah.
Worked with Trev for many years.
Right. Originally from Philly. Almost as funny as Rick, but no one can quite be there.
No,
So,
he's a
no,
good-
he's
he's
not
a
as
good
funny
lad.
as,
He's a
not
good
as
lad,
funny as
yeah.
Rick.
Can I tell one of Rick's jokes?
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
People who live in Abu Dhabi. No, actually, sorry.
Oh man.
No, that's. I gotta stop.
He's gonna throw you right
No,
under
so
the
it-
bus.
I'm ready now. People who live in Dubai, they never watch the Flintstones. But people who live in Abu Dhabi do.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
one of Rick's,
do.
come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, give me a sec.
I got too excited.
Now, is it true that you might have been one of the spiders from Mars, but you didn't do it to
Yeah.
join Yes? Is that truth?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. It was the. I went on. We rehearsed. I was invited along to rehearsals with the guys, with John, as it was then, Bill, Stephen, Chris, and if you remember, John, it was in Shepherd's Market in
Yes, I
London,
remember.
and it was
It's a naughty part of town.
It was.
Yes.
It was, and
The
rehearsal
brasses.
room was above a brothel,
Yeah.
a very high class brothel, and it was just full of women downstairs with sort of like with fur coats and not an awful lot else. I hated every minute.
Yeah, I'm
of
sure
it
you did.
personally.
They shouldn't be wearing fur.
And I'd been sorry.
They shouldn't be wearing
No,
fur.
absolutely not.
Double.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and so we went in and I'll tell you later after we think about a lady of the night wearing fur who used to advertise in London. I'll tell you that after.
Okay.
I can't really tell it on air. Well, I could, but I get
Go
into
on.
trouble.
is it out of order?
Not really. It involves. It actually involves a great uncle of mine and his son. He was in his 90s. He'd lost his wife. She'd passed away about 30 years before. He was living on his own. He was getting a bit frail. He never had any sort of fun in his life. And his son, Alan, thought he'd like to try and do something as a bit of a surprise for him. And we have a newspaper in England called the Sunday Sport. Mm-hmm. And in the back there's lots of like very dubious advertising and things. Yeah. And there was a picture of a girl in a fur coat, and it just got written super sex. Call this number.
Yeah.
And he called her, and she said, yeah, I go round to people's houses and I give super sex. And he went, what about an old boy of 92 or whatever he was? And she went, yeah, I've done. Oh, he went, right, it's Dad's birthday. You know, my great uncle said, my dad's birthday. He said, would you go? She said, yeah, absolutely. And he told me, he said he was a bit frail, but he said, but he thought it'd be a nice surprise for him. Nothing, you know, the grand been dead for 30 odd years. And she went round apparently and went up and she got the fur coat on. And she banged on the door, and after a little while of shuffling, the door opened and he stood there, and she opened the fur coat.
And he dropped
nothing
dead.
there, and she just went, super sex. And he went, well, if it's all right with you, I'll just have the soup. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. There you go. What were we talking about before? Oh, above the brothel, I think. And we rehearsed. And I remember we put together a lot. Chris had come in with the bass line, basically, of Heart of the Sunrise. And I had such a wonderful time. I'd never worked with a band, anything like it. And that evening, I had to go to... I didn't have to go, but I went to Hampstead Country Club because David Bowie had asked me to meet him there with Mick Ronson. I went there and actually sat in the pair of them, did a duo, and I sat in and we played. And then afterwards, David said, look, I'm performing Spiders from Mars, and I'd like you to be part of it with Mick and the rest of the Woody Woodman and Trevor who were in there. And he said, do you fancy that? And I said, I've just been asked to join, yes. And he went, well, you've got a decision to make. And I said, yeah, well, he said, well, don't do it now, call me in the morning. So I drove home. And it actually, to be honest, it was not a difficult decision. Yeah. I mean, I love working with Dave, and he remained a friend right up until when he died. But I saw so much excitement in where the music was going with Yes. And I felt, if you're part of a band, you could be more part of it. I mean, working with David, you're always, in the nicest sense, going to be doing David's songs, which are fantastic. But there's a ceiling as to how far you can actually go. And so it was an easy choice, really. And David and I were neighbours for a long time out in Switzerland, and we did talk about it years later. And he actually said, you made absolutely the right decision. He said, because every 3 years I changed the band anyway.
Yeah.
He said, so you've been out of work anyway after a little while. But he agreed wholeheartedly that it was the right decision, and I've obviously never regretted it since.
You played on you played on Hunky Dory, didn't you?
I did all the Hunky Dory, I did Space Oddity, but my favourite track of his is a song called Wild Eyed Boy from Free Cloud, which is, he told stories. It's a lovely... I don't know, do you know that song, John? No. It's a great song. There's Tony Visconti did some orchestra and things on it. It is the most beautiful song. That's my favourite thing I ever did.
Did you come up with the part? Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, well, he was great. He gave me complete freedom to do what I liked, which was really nice.
So there was not that. He didn't have that beforehand.
No, he just... I came in right at the beginning because he played me the song at his house on a battered old 12-string guitar, and I just thought it was a wonderful song.
Life on Mars.
Yeah, and he just said play it as a piano piece.
Amazing.
So he was a good guy. You met him, didn't you, John?
Many times, yeah.
Was you a fan, John?
Loved him very, very much.
He was
an
a
amazing
great guy.
Yeah.
Did you meet him?
I didn't meet him, but I met Mick, who I really liked him. I thought he
Mick was a nice guy.
Really good guy.
They worked well together too.
Yeah. He did arrangements and stuff.
Mick Ronson did a lot of stuff, and then it was really good as well because his first producer was Gus Dudgeon,
right?
Who did a lot of stuff, and then Gus handed it over to Tony,
right?
And Tony then did a lot of the orchestral arrangements and things for Dave. So there was a lot of them.
I didn't know Tony did.
But it was a good team. It was a really good team.
You wouldn't think we were musicians.
They're actually going, no, we don't think they are, really. We're going to play...
That's what we talk about.
Okay, Life on Mars. Is that what we're going to play? We're here with Yes. They got a show Sunday at the Whiskey. And then they're playing... when's the one at the Greek?
29th.
29th, which is the Wednesday after that.
Right.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And Jonesy's Jukebox, KLOS, take it away. You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS with my guest, Yes. Where did that name come from?
It's funny that I was talking about Peter Banks yesterday to some lovely people who were doing a documentary about his life, and Peter Banks was in the band at the very beginning. Chris Squire had this band called Mabel Greer's Toy Shop, and I met Chris in this bar that I was working in just above the Marquee Club. And so we got on very well, me and Chris, and we went to this Lucky Horseshoe cafe in the basement where Yes, well, there wasn't Yes then, it was Mabel Greer's Toy Shop. And after a couple of rehearsals, the drummer left to go and work and get some money with a band in Paris, and then we found Bill Bruford. So that was when the band was Bill, Peter, Chris, myself, and Tony Kaye. And I kept saying to Chris, we've got to change the name, it's so long, you know. So the following day, we all came with a word. And my word was life. Chris had world. And Peter Banks had yes. And we kept saying, is it the yes? And he said, no, just yes. And God bless him, because that's what we were called.
Yeah. Did it?
Wow, I didn't know it was
Did you know that?
I knew that Peter Banks, but I didn't know the actual story of how that. I didn't know there was a life and a world.
Yep.
What word would you have come back with, Trev?
pale.
Like a bucket.
Well, the night after.
Yeah.
Yeah, bucket, exactly.
Yeah.
Bucket.
Interesting.
What would you have come back with?
Skid marks.
Skid, yeah.
Yeah, skid.
Well, it's a very positive name for a band because
It is, yeah.
I've just been watching Yellow Submarine the other day on Netflix, whatever, and there's yes things all over that place where
Yeah.
the blue meanies were. The yes.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of cool.
It
A lot
is
of
a
jokes.
positive word, yes.
It is. A lot of jokes about it, like, who do you play with? Yes. Who? No, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
There was a whole comedy
Whole
thing,
thing,
wasn't it, with
yeah.
the Guess Who? No, the
Yeah, right.
There was Guess Who, and yes, they did,
Right,
yeah.
right.
I like the band from Ireland called The.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great name.
Well, they were
The-
originally just to be but the guy had a stutter. And apparently
Yeah.
that's how that happened, yeah.
Someone in the audience wants to know if you're doing any new stuff.
Yeah. You know, of course. We always do new stuff. It's new every night. It is. To us, anyways.
But no new music like.
Well, there's a bit going in
There's
there.
new
Okay.
music and there's a new intro
Yeah,
to the whole
music.
show.
And I'm going to do a little new thing at the beginning of a song called Fragile. Not Fragile. Wonder Stories. I'm just going to put a new thing
Soon.
in there. Soon.
We change things all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep,
And what we try and do is look at the pieces, and whilst we keep all the flavours of everything as they were, see what we can do with them. And if you actually listen to the originals and what we've done, if you take the live album and then listen to some of the
Very
original
different,
pieces,
yeah.
they, even though you go, oh, that's the same, recognisable,
Yeah.
they are incredibly different.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
we recorded on this tour, well, very often, it was your idea, record every show. So we had it on 48 tracks, every show. And, I mean, it's completely different. Even if I put the faders up, they were all on the same faders.
Yeah.
I put one song up, put another song up, the same song, different night.
Yeah.
The mix was even different,
Yeah.
you know.
well, the
and-
audiences are different
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
night. Always great.
Brian,
true,
I
it's
see
true.
that
You know,
you
without the
have
audience, we
guitar
wouldn't
in
have a
your
job.
hand.
I do.
So I put that down there.
No, it's live. You can hear it in the.
Okay, go on then. Oh, yeah, okay.
Who's
yeah.
going to sing?
I'll put that back up again then. Oh.
I left my heart in San
Let's just
Francisco.
go.
I left my knees in Galway Bay.
I don't have a pick,
Spike
so
Milligan.
Anyone got a
God
pick?
bless him.
I'll just make do, though.
Hold on. Yeah. Look, all these musicians got one. No pick. Hold on.
Oh, then I'm going to be incredible.
Yeah. That
Wow.
changes everything.
Oh, that's not the one you used though, is it?
It's not.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very
not-
hard.
No.
I use a much
Is that
softer
hard?
one.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just,
You
I
like
like a hard pick.
But you've got a soft one at the moment.
I've got a
have you?
soft pick.
I got a boner to pick with you.
Lunchtime.
The faster I play, the harder it gets.
Oh, I know.
I'm
so
saying
so what are
nothing.
you going to do?
Well, it's kind of.
I've got a question. Can I ask him a
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
I've never asked him before. Owner.
Yes.
Now, how did you put that together? Didn't you initially? And then John came in and sang.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a strange opening chord season. It doesn't go where you think it's going to go the first time you hear it.
Right.
Once you get used to it, you know it. So I'm very genuinely interested to know how that came about. Was
Well,
it from something else?
No. Well, first of all, the end result where the actual chorus came to me. Owner of a lonely heart. That happened in the bathroom. Particularly long experience.
Well, you were,
I was
yeah.
owner of a lonely heart. But the actual riff, just I played it.
We
and
got to go and visit the Duke. When we come back, will you
Oh.
show us
Yes.
how all that works?
Absolutely.
Visit who?
We're going to visit the Duke of Kent. We're going to pay the rent.
Ah.
You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox with my guest, yes. Thank you.
Yeah. The young ones,
Darling, we're the young ones.
The young one.
shouldn't be afraid.
To live, love. The morning comes, and then we won't be the young one anymore.
Once in every lifetime, couldn't be like this. Too high for me. Oh, you need me. Oh, my darling, can't you see the young ones?
Darling, we're the young ones.
The young ones.
Shouldn't be afraid
To live, love.
while our hearts were young.
We won't be the
Young ones anymore.
Thank you, LA. We gotta go. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joe. We gotta go now because we gotta go and rehearse.
That was a Cliff Richards classic with the Shadows.
And you
Yeah.
must obviously Hank.
I was a huge fan of the
Yeah.
Shadows and Hank and
love-
Cliff, actually. He came on my show before. He was a blast.
Yeah, he's all right. Cliff.
He was a blast.
Oh,
man.
really?
Yeah.
Has Hank been on?
No.
He's a Mormon, you know.
He lives in Australia, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Adelaide?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. He knew her well.
He knocked on your door, didn't he? No,
Yeah.
no, he knocked on Trevor's door.
know anymore.
Doesn't he what?
He
Doesn't
what?
live in her anymore.
He's very religious down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big-
Well, show us the thing. Show us the thing.
Oh,
And then
okay.
we'll knock it on the head.
Show us your
I know
thing.
you've got to go and
Go on,
rehearse.
show us
your
your
thing.
Show us
Can you
your
just
thing.
grab the guitar, Paul?
Yeah. Oh, not
Sorry,
really.
that's
It's just like a dick, but smaller. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. Okay. Where are we?
What? He's hung like a wild field mouse.
So you were talking about how Owner came about and
Yeah.
Owner of a Lonely Heart, and really it was as simple as just getting this in my head, and I was for quite a while I thought that's so simple. It's maybe too simple, too straight, and then I kind of over time was like, actually that sounds pretty good, and then on the I was in the bathroom and started and wrote the chorus there, Owner of a Lonely Heart, and just kind of stemmed from there, and and on it went.
And the
Who wrote
rest is
words? Did you
history.
write the words?
Yeah.
We wrote the first verse together on and off, and then
Yeah.
I kept going because he had to go somewhere. I don't remember where he went, but he had to go somewhere. And I
Adelaide.
kept- Adelaide.
Back to the
So I
toilet.
carried on
I
writing
went
lyrics.
into Adelaide.
Move
so-
yourself. You always live your life, never thinking of the future. Prove yourself. You are the steps you take. Take the chances, win or loser. Be yourself. Your every move you make, you, and that's the only way. Shake yourself. Your every move you make. So the story goes. Come on. Owner of a lonely heart. Owner of a lonely heart. We gotta go.
They gotta go. You've been listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS with my guest, Yes. And keep it going. I'd like to thank the following sponsors. Smoking Barbecues for the incredible lunch. Angel City Brewing and Hind Water for the beverages. Subaru for supporting the KLOS Subaru live stage. And of course, John Anderson, Trevor Rabin, and Rick Wakeman of Yes. Thank you!